Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PlotCast. I'm your host, Nate Slater.
And I'm Chris Sandbrook, and today we're going to be discussing Magic the Gathering. Specifically, its crossover craze.
To be honest, folks, we haven't played Magic in quite some time, but
Yeah, it was more of a college thing for me.
it was more of a high school thing for me. But doesn't mean I haven't thought about the glory days, especially with all these secret layer drops and they have these new big expansions. For instance, Lord of the Rings, and they got The Hobbit coming out. They just had Final Fantasy and Spider-Man. So it's definitely piqued my interest. Doesn't mean I'm gonna get into it, but it does bring back some more nostalgia because Magic the Gathering was the card game. It spawned really all card games, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball, all these games that are out now just because of Magic, or I like to think it was because of Magic. And just this whole thing that's going on, it really is kind of irking me a little bit because I really feel like they're milking everything they got just to probably even try and keep up with the Pokemon at this point. Because
Which is so ironic since they started Pokemon way
yeah,
back
well,
when.
they didn't start it, but they brought it to the States.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
And it just bothers me in the fact that Magic to me always felt like it could always hold its own by itself. But then again, thinking about it, I haven't played it since high school. So maybe that tells me something because I'm more interested in collecting Pokemon. Part of Pokemon's selling point is you got to catch them all. It has that collectability to it. Magic from the beginning never really did. It was always meant to be a game to play with your friends to keep you from being bored. It was the alternative to a board game, if you would.
right. They focused on strategy, which didn't mean you had to have all the cards. It means you had to have a set that would work for you.
Yeah. And the thing that was kind of weird about it, comparing it to other card games, it had rare cards, but they never really, back in the day, had a way of telling you this card is rare, like on the card. Pokemon did that with the shapes, and then other card games have their own way of doing it. But I'd say Pokemon really started the whole rarity phase, and
Yeah,
then I guess Magic has followed suit. Some of the symbols would be shaded colors, like silver is uncommon, I guess, and then gold is rare. So it has evolved over time, but I feel like Magic is losing its luster for a lot of people. So they're doing the whole Fortnite thing, trying to breathe new life into it. And I feel like it might be alienating some people because it kind of is for me. Because not that I don't think it's cool or anything, I just feel they're jumping on the Fortnite bandwagon, trying to just hold on for dear life.
right. Which is funny because they did have a Fortnite crossover already. It's just one of those things that companies do to kind of reinvent themselves, remind other people, hey, we're still here. We're still doing this thing. Come buy our product. Because obviously, the hardcore people are the people who've been playing for years,
Yeah.
20, 30 years. And uh, they want to ignite this interest in newer, younger players. They want longevity for the game,
Yes.
and they're doing whatever they can to increase sales, get new players involved, and the crossover with other IPs seem to be the big thing. And it's not just them. Obviously, it started in Fortnite. It worked for Fortnite. Fortnite was known for it. That was Fortnite's thing. But then Call of Duty started doing it. And
Yeah.
everyone seemed to start doing it. It was so weird having Call of Duty be the realistic war game, and then suddenly you're being shot at by Beavis and Butthead.
Or Homelander or freaking,
Yeah.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah, exactly. Like it really takes you out of the immersion, which is another problem that's happening with this. That while they were like, "Hey, we see the profit lines," and when it comes down to it, you have to look at who owns Wizards of the Coast, and it's Hasbro. And Hasbro has done this a lot, especially with their other products, namely Monopoly. I mean, how many different types of Monopoly have you seen?
Game of Thrones, you have Metallica
Stranger
Monopoly.
Things, Metallica, yeah. Like, it just anytime something is big for a moment, they're like, "Oh, let's license that into a Monopoly game."
Yep, and
So, like
Hasbro, I think, holds the rights to Star Wars toys too, I believe. I think.
yeah,
Yeah, they do,
likely.
yeah.
And Marvel toys.
Yep,
They used to own Marvel in itself. They sold it off to Disney. So, while Hasbro isn't exactly a brand name that everyone knows, it's something that everyone has had experience with, whether they know it or not.
yeah,
Hasbro is a much bigger company than most people think, and especially in the toy market.
yep.
Uh, but when it comes to Magic, they clearly saw that it was going stale. It wasn't, you know, getting the sales that they were expecting. They even brought back Planeswalkers, and while I would say it definitely sold, they they clearly were like, "Hey, look, there's this trend where you just bring in other people's IPs, and suddenly you have all of their fans."
Well, saying what you said, I will stand corrected. I physically stopped playing Magic around high school, but then they did the whole 2010 Magic the Gathering where they did the whole introduction of the Planeswalkers and they put it on PlayStation 3. And that's when I started
Yeah.
playing it. And each year they'd come out with a new updated version of the card game and like a digital version for PlayStation. So I did do that for a bit, but then it very quickly got old.
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's what they keep doing. They keep trying to, um, you know, be innovative and expanding Magic's horizons. And yes, the video games worked for a while. I was on board with that.
Yeah.
I played the crap out of it, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it specifically because you didn't have to keep going out buying packs.
Yeah, that's true.
You could earn them. Um, but that's not what sells. You need people to actually buy the packs. And what better way to do it than to have crossovers?
Oh boy. Final
Yep.
Fantasy, the big
And
kahuna.
when I see stuff like that that appeals to me, yeah, I got the Doctor Who one as well. Um, when you see stuff like that, you're like, "Oh, cool." Like, I'll pick that up. It's like a collector's thing. And that's the thing. They going beyond just people playing the game. They now have also a collector's item.
Yeah, they're
Something
trying to do what Pokemon does, get the collectors involved, which it's working to an extent, but how long, like,
Yeah, how
is
long
this
can they
gonna
keep
work?
this up? I mean, obviously, it's a licensing thing, so it's very limited. And with it being very limited, uh, you know, you'll if you miss it and you want to buy it, you now have to buy it off of someone that purchased it, and the price skyrockets.
Like, just when, The Lord of the Rings came out, people were going nuts for the booster boxes because if you get that one ring card, you're rich, and I think Post Malone bought it for, like, $2
Yeah,
million or something. I wish I was that lucky person that got it bought from Post Malone. I'd be like, "Yo, Post Malone, buy it from me, but I also need, like, a picture with you and stuff like that." There's other strings attached to this shit. Give me a free show, you know,
right,
stuff like that.
exactly.
And then it kinda continued it dwindled for a while, like, the craze was kinda gone because the One Ring card was, like, the One Ring card, and then Final Fantasy kind of reinvigorated it because they did the whole serialized golden chocobos. There's only 77 in existence, and I believe they're only in English. I don't think all of them have been found yet. That's why they have these deluxe booster pack boxes. I think it comes with like 14 booster packs. They're going for like 1,400, $1,500 just for a chance to get a serialized card, which could be worth a good chunk of change, 10, $20,000 plus.
Right.
And
If
like
you're lucky.
yeah, if you're lucky. And as of right now, they're on the Spider-Man train, which doesn't have a serialized card, which is why it's dropping in value, immensely. But the next one coming out is, I believe, The Hobbit. So that's supposed to be
Yeah.
going back to the serialized thing. I even broke down and bought Spider-Man or a pack of the Spider-Man stuff. I got like that was the rare I got. Who was it? Aranya. And then I got like a foil Spider Girl or whatever. But the coolest thing out of it that I got forget those cards. I don't care about those. The coolest thing about it was the land, which was the swamp. That was badass. Friggin', it's like a spider web of a skull. That is
Yeah.
so cool.
Eh,
I essentially, I guess I just bought the pack for the land. Forget the other cards. But
right,
I
but it goes beyond that, right? Because while, yes, they're picking on nostalgia right now, I think the biggest controversy with all of this is the existing long-term loyal fans.
ooh, I will stop you because you know how I was talking about the common uncommon thing? Well, now
Yeah.
I'm looking at the bottom of the cards. They do have a denominator now. It says U for uncommon, C for common, rare. I got an R, and then I got a uncommon, L for land, and then we got a T for token. So I got a spider treasure token. So yes, now that I know this, they do actually tell you if it's common, uncommon, rare, all that kind of thing. Because I think Magic or people like me were just kind of like, well, I don't know if this is rare or not. Now we know.
Right. No, that's cool.
Does yours say
But
that?
yeah, nah, not the one I'm looking at, but it's a deck, so maybe they don't put those on the pre-made decks.
Oh, possibly. Or maybe it's something they just recently started doing. So, anyway,
Well,
thank you,
I
Wizards
don't
of the
see it.
Coast, finally.
I don't see it on the Final Fantasy set either.
Oh, so maybe they just started doing it for the Spider Man then.
Or they just started doing it for the booster stuff,
More than
not the
likely.
pre-made decks.
That's true.
Because anyone could just buy a deck and you'd have the set cards. But
Right.
that being said,
Hmm.
getting back onto topic. So uh Magic the Gathering has started back in 1993. And it has always evolved to stay relevant. Hasbro has launched all these crossovers. You have Lord of the Rings, there was Warhammer, Doctor Who, Fortnite. These crossovers are more than just a marketing gimmick, though. That it's a
Hmm.
strategic move with multiple aims. Obviously, first and foremost is to get the new players.
Yeah.
They're trying to get these new players by leveraging, existing fan bases, uh,
Correct.
bringing in these people who already love something. And that runs into the collectability. Maybe we don't have new players, but we have at least people buying cards.
Yeah. New
They're buying
collectors.
them as a collector. And that's fine, at least for profit margins, right?
No,
Because
as far as they're concerned, yes.
Right, exactly. But in order to stay alive, they need longevity. They need people to play these cards, card games, and go into tournaments, events, stuff like that. Um, so from a business perspective, these crossovers are a gold mine.
With the Warhammer, it makes you wonder if Henry Cavill bought any because he's a big Warhammer
Oh,
fan.
he did. He's first of all, he's got the money to without it
Yeah.
even being a problem. But, you know, he's not blind to the world. He at the very least knew what Magic the Gathering was. And when
Yeah.
assuming he heard about the 40K drop, that he probably at the very least looked at it.
Yeah. Saw if
Whether
it
he
was.
bought them or not, is but he's a collector too,
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
a giant nerd. He's he's the alpha nerd. We'll call him the alpha nerd. There we go.
Right. Right. But yeah, so by tapping into the popularity of these franchises, Mar- uh, Magic isn't just selling cards now, they're selling collectible memorabilia because you don't have just cards, you have the collectible cases, for each set.
Yep.
People are buying the card sleeves for those sets. It goes beyond just the single cards. So, as far as maximizing their profits, they know how to do it. They're
Yeah.
a big company, they've been doing it for a very long time. um, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more than what we even think.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
so
obviously they've been taking notes from other people who have done it in the past, obviously Call of Duty
right,
and Fortnite.
Oh, exactly, exactly. And there was a bunch of, executives sitting around a table talking about how can we maximize the bottom line. Yeah, how can we get as much money out of these people as possible?
Give
Um,
them what they want.
yeah. Uh, but the problem again stems now to the hardcore players.
Yes.
There's a cost to it. The longtime players who've invested years in Magic's intricate lore, carefully crafted aesthetics, they're feeling alienated. You can see it in Reddit. People are talking about it in forums. Particularly anything related to Magic. The appeal for a lot of people lies in its unique fantasy world. The planes, the characters, the stories that have unfolded over the decades. But when a Fortnite llama or a Dalek suddenly appears on the battlefield, it can be jarring. It's out of place.
I mean, I can kind of agree with that because it does feel out of place. Yes, it is cool. I mean, it would be kind of cool and make more sense if they kept these separate in the sense that Magic
They're just
has,
collector's
yeah,
items
no,
or
no, not even that. They could continue, like, for instance, the Warhammer thing, but, you know, Warhammer in Magic format. They just
right.
use the same format as Magic. I mean, the basic Magic, it's still Magic, but it's Warhammer Magic, and your characters have attack, defense, and all the abilities, but you don't mesh them together, the
Sure,
main game.
but then you're not going to be going through. I mean, Secret Lab currently has roughly 270 different crossover drops.
Yeah, well, but those are also, what is it, like 4 to, like, 7 cards per set, so there's not
Right.
really, like, a big
But
deal.
some of these have become legal within the game itself.
Yeah,
And even just let's see, I got a list here of the Universes Beyond, which is the sets that they've
okay,
made. They
okay.
have The Walking Dead, Stranger Things, Arcane, which is the League of Legends TV
Mhm.
show, Street Fighter, Fortnite, Warhammer, Transformers, Dungeons and Dragons makes perfect sense.
Yep,
I mean, it's kind of what it was based off of
yep,
originally. Lord of the Rings, again, still makes sense. That's what Dungeons and Dragons was based off of.
yep.
Creep Show, Doctor Who, Evil Dead, Princess Bride, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Tomb Raider, Clue, Fallout, Miku, which is just absolutely nuts. Assassin's Creed, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Ghostbusters, Child's Play, Marvel, Final Fantasy, SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, and of course, there's more coming. We know about The Hobbit is coming. We know that there's going to be PlayStation drops. We don't know if that's going to be sets, but we know that they are at the very least going to be secret layer drops.
Yeah,
Um,
which based off of what you and I were talking about, if they exclude a few main characters, it's in the pipeline. They're gonna do something with PlayStation
yeah,
eventually. PlayStation could use the money, Magic could use the money. Hand in hand, go together. Let's make some money.
look, eventually we're gonna get things like Metal Gear Solid. I mean, look at the money hungry companies that are out there that just if they catch wind about this, they'll jump all over it. And Konami's one of them. They're always looking to make a quick buck.
That is true. It would be cool to see Metal Gear. But the one thing I will say in defense of some of these sets, now Ghostbusters seems totally left field and should not work with Magic whatsoever. Now,
Right.
you did point out Dungeons and Dragons, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, those sets, and I'm pretty sure even the hardcore Magic players, they think that is fine to incorporate because it's a part of
Right.
that, you know,
They
legacy.
almost fit as in the world,
Yeah.
in general. Like they don't necessarily I mean they break lore, yes. But like if you just look at them as like an elf or looking at it like oh this is
An orc.
yeah orc or this that like they still fit because they already have
Yeah,
those
because Magic is
uh
derived from those basics.
right exactly But yeah, I mean, it goes beyond that, right?
Mhm.
The aesthetic, yes, it's more than just a visual issue, though. It you you're blending all these other universes, but I think the biggest problem is making a lot of these sets legal. Yes, some of not they do state none of these crossovers are canon. Okay, that's great. But when you make these sets legal, certain sets, some of them aren't, then it becomes an even bigger problem because now you're going to see them in tournaments.
Yeah.
No matter where some of these players go that don't want to see this shit, they may still see it. They may still have to, work through whatever's especially the competitive players.
Yeah.
Competitive players really don't have a choice. And on top of it, you're kind of forcing them to buy into certain things if they want to stay competitive. Making certain sets strong, especially like certain commanders and stuff like that. You're now going to be forced to play with them. So you're not just playing against them, you're playing with them. You're spending money on them. And these sets are more expensive.
Yeah, especially
Uh,
now. I mean, I wanna blame Pokemon because, like, what's happening to the world where pieces of cardboard I mean, okay, granted, baseball cards have been worth money for generations now because of the legendary people behind them, Mickey Mantles, Babe Ruth, back in the day. Those were the heroes of the day because that's what we had, living legends. But now we're just kind of I guess it's nostalgia at this point is driving a lot of these sales and like whether it's the card market or the comic book market or even the toy market. Anything that's had I mean, you could even go VHS, video games, like everything's going out of control. But right now, the big balloon, which probably is going to burst, I'd say next 2, 3 years, is the card balloon, mainly with Pokemon. But, Magic is now following suit behind Pokemon. The next question is Yu Gi Oh going to follow? Because those are like the big three, I believe, right now is
yeah,
Magic well, number 1's Pokemon, I would say Magic, then Yu-Gi-Oh, but Yu-Gi-Oh's pretty much fallen off the planet too. I mean, now they got so many other ones like One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, which Dragon Ball Super is like, I think, low tier now. And what's the other one? Metaverse or whatever. There's too many IPs out there, and the ones who stay on top are those main 3, and those are the ones well, specifically Pokemon and Magic are that are booming, but I feel like Magic is almost a false boom because people can't get Pokemon cards, so they're going to the next thing. And Magic, in a sense, is doing the right thing by licensing all these franchises to get people who can't get the franchise they want, just saying Pokemon because that is the overpriced card game right now. Magic's doing this; they're generating more money because they're pulling in people that can't afford the other thing, and now people are starting to get priced out in Magic because they can't get Pokemon now, they can't get Magic, so where are they gonna go to next? Maybe
right.
Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe
Yeah,
something else? I don't know.
right.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh's had its day in the sun. I don't think it's I don't know. I
Yeah, yeah.
honestly,
They
I think my personal opinion, this is a hot take. I think Magic is gonna die before Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's possible because I mean that's the next big question, right? Is doing this is this ploy going to make this long term or short term? You know, there's arguments on it, and with the lore purists, they're worrying obviously that the integrity of Magic's narrative is being sacrificed now for short term profits, just something to make a quick buck, you know, a cash grab. It's eroding the game's unique identity. The rich storytelling doesn't really exist anymore if you're just going to be like, and then Cloud came along, cut him in half with a sword.
Yeah.
It's what used to set it apart from other trading card games. Is that it was a deep universe. Yes, Pokemon has that, but Pokemon's whole thing has always just been you got to catch them all, and we all know later on, like they start off with such a quality set of Pokemon, and then it just started to get more ridiculous. Oh, and there's an ice cream Pokemon. Oh, there's a
Yeah.
Pokemon that's just a set of keys.
They ran out
It
of
just
ideas.
they ran out of ideas a long time, and a lot of them don't. They look like they were drawn by like a 2-year-old.
Yes.
They some of them get really bad. And one thing that Magic has always had is its art. Like
Beautiful.
that's another thing. Like we were talking about how just a piece of card can be worth so much. The big argument has always for Magic itself has always been, well, we're also selling you art. Okay, sure. There's a lot of Magic's artwork that you stare at because you're like,
Yeah.
wow, that is awesome. Look at that
And
fucking
and it makes you wonder, like, how did they afford all these artists to do all these pictures this well?
right.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
they're commissioning a lot of people, so they're putting money into this.
Yeah.
Like, Pokemon, let's face it, just from the anime perspective, that they're just because obviously some of their cards do have really intricate pictures, but
Yes.
from just a base anime image, like, how fast can you draw, a fucking Charizard?
Yeah.
Bam, there you
Yeah,
go.
flat image.
Yeah. Uh, when it comes to Magic, it's always been in depth.
Yeah,
It's
you can see,
always been
like,
a painting.
could be oil I know, like an oil painting,
Yeah,
watercolor painting. I mean, obviously now they have the freaking Marvel cards, so they could have, like, Marvel artists do the stuff too, and that's another good thing for, I guess, in this, at least for Marvel's sake and DC's sake, when they do these sets, they got more work for their comic book artists too, if they wanna do art for the cards.
right. It's a delicate balancing act that they're going in. On one hand, you have the crossover decks driving sales and expanding Magic's reach, but on the other hand, you risk losing the very quality that made Magic special and losing its most loyal fans. If you lose your fans, then all you've got is the collectors left.
They should do an Austin Powers Magic set.
That you know what? It wouldn't even put you know what? They'll do the
Gold member.
they'll do the Mike Myers edition where, you've got Austin Powers with Shrek.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, they'll do a Shrek one eventually too. Watch. Hey, that could work in
Yeah, just
Magic.
got to get DreamWorks to license it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's become an issue. Like, Reddit has blown up, at least for the Magic Gathering Reddit, of people going back and forth on it. Yeah, and some people, I definitely read one where a guy was talking about how he had been trying to get his friends to play with him for years, and they just weren't interested at all. And then Warhammer drops, and suddenly they're in, and he's playing with his friends, and he's having a blast.
So
So,
there is a positive side.
there are some long-term fans that are enjoying it because not only are they enjoying the fact that it's bringing new people in that they can play with, it's also, introducing IPs that they are already fans of too.
True.
And certain ones, like I said, like uh, we mentioned with Lord of the Rings and such, like
Mhm.
it works.
Yeah.
And I feel like to an extent, Warhammer works, but again, it's to an extent. It's futuristic, but it's also somewhat medievally with the armor and whatnot. But
I mean, at
uh
this point, I think it's just a matter of time before we get a Star Wars crossover because there used to be a Star Wars card game around the time Magic came out. Star Wars rode the coattails of Magic. It didn't work out for him. I think the last set came out in 2001 or 2002 or something like that, and then that version of the original version of the Star Wars game disappeared, and then they had another one, but I don't think it really lasted too much longer
right,
than the original. And then,
right.
the other thing I actually would like to see because it once again, things that mesh well with Magic, I would like to see. Like, we got Hobbit coming out, we got Lord of the Rings, we got Dungeons& and Dragons, but I think Game of Thrones will work really well with it too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Get Warner Brothers in on it, and they're always
HBO,
up
yeah.
for quick cash. I mean, they already have. There's been some DC.
I mean, I already figured out the serialized cards, people. Daenerys's dragons. There you go.
Yeah,
The 3 eggs. You can only get 3 of them. Good luck, folks. And then when they bring House of the Dragon out, then you get the other eggs.
right. Yeah,
Pay me, Wizards of the Coast. I just got your next IP. Pay us. Pay us. We're a team here. We're a team.
yeah.
Equals. So
But
I
yeah, no, Magic the Gathering's push for these crossovers, like it's undeniable that they're reshaping the game's landscape. Whether it's positive or not is really down to perspective, and whether it will survive, well, time will tell.
Yeah, I seriously think, like I said, I think this is the point where Magic is in its do or die mode. I
Yeah.
think personally 5 to 10 years, more than likely the latter, so probably 10 years, Magic is gonna be almost non-existent because there will
Unless
you can
unless they
only
come
do
across unless they implement something that's groundbreaking.
a
Like,
movie.
you
If they
never
do a
know.
movie if you do a
It's
movie,
it's
it might
not
happen.
even that. Like, I feel because to do a movie with just Magic the Gathering as a uh IP, you need to familiarize people with like the Planeswalkers works because you have individual people that represent the you know different aspects of magic in itself. So I feel like if you had to do it, Planeswalkers is the way to go
Yeah.
because there's no like individual commanders of old that you could be like, ah, yeah, totally, this, that, the other. Like, no one is like strictly on one.
But yes, I definitely think if Magic doesn't do something big, like this is the biggest thing they've done in a long time is the crossovers. But the crossovers, you'll run out eventually to where there's enough things people care about. There's plenty of things out there to crossover with, but
Oh, you know what? We might even get some Power Rangers.
oh,
That they're
Wizards,
really
Wizards, come
big
on,
on crossovers.
Hasbro,
So,
we're here for you. We can make it happen. All right,
but
come on
yeah,
the show.
just one thing I wanted to mention on the card
Yeah.
legality. Not all cards are legal, and
Okay.
there's three formats that are typically used. There's the
Okay.
Commander, Legacy, Vintage. Then you've got Modern and Standard. And so for Commander, they did include Marvel, Doctor Who, and Warhammer are legal in the Commander format. Modern format, you have Lord of the Rings and Assassin's Creed, and standard they have legalized Final Fantasy and Marvel Spider-Man. Obviously, people who are competitive are going to be jumping in and they're going to be seeing these things. Like I said, I wouldn't, if I was a huge fan, I wouldn't see Lord of the Rings as much of a problem to that.
Yeah, lore breaking set.
Right. But I guess the big issues that people are having, aside from lore erosion and the aesthetic inconsistency, um, you have things like some of the crossovers introduce mechanically powerful cards that have become like format staples,
Mhm.
essentially making people obligated who are like competitive players to purchase these products that they don't want.
Yeah,
Um,
but to stay
you
in the
know,
game, to win, they
right,
gotta get it.
exactly. For example, the powerful Orcish Bowmasters from the Lord of the Rings set is like a staple. People have to have those. You know, the just the perception of it being a cash grab turns a lot of people off.
And the
You
fact
know,
is, they do have to make these, crossover sets legal at some point because if they don't, they're gonna alienate the new people and they're gonna leave. They're gonna be like, "Well, I can't
exactly.
play what I bought? Well, then I don't want it."
Right, exactly. And the problem with it is just forcing purchases. Forcing people to stay competitive. You have to, there's new mechanics, you're gonna have to jump right in. And it has always been like that competitively with any card set. If some card sets come out and something is powerful, well, they have to buy into it to stay competitive.
Yeah.
And when some of these new crossover sets have commanders that are just you can't miss it, then it forces them to buy in. And if they don't buy in right away, they're forced to pay crazy prices.
Yeah.
You
Just,
know,
it's like Pokemon in that sense, or like
right.
even so Yu-Gi-Oh! Or any card game that has that staple card that's a rare or hard to get, you're gonna be paying out the butt for, especially in this economy. So it can get daunting, especially on the
Yeah.
people who don't want it, but have to
And
have it.
you're shifting the focus. You're taking away from where it originally was, and and aiming at casual players is one thing, but casual players are casual.
Yeah,
You know, loyal players will always be there to buy your product. And don't get me wrong, bringing new people in is what you want to do, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But destroying the game for the people that loved it previously, you're not bringing in new players, you're trading players. You're getting rid
exactly.
of the old to bring in the new, and if the new don't stay, then what are you gonna do? Like, everyone keeps talking about how this is the Fortnite-ification of Magic,
Yeah,
and the thing with Fortnite is that they are constant. They are bringing in new IPs, every week. They got something. And unless Magic chooses to do that, to keep these new players interested and staying as long-term players, then uh, you know, then it's pointless if it's not the aim.
yeah, and to be frank, the older players are the ones who have the money because 'cause they're the older players. You know, when
Yeah,
it started in '93, they were kids. You know, some of them were in high school when it was created or even college because a college professor made the game. You know, some of them were in his class or whatever. I can't remember the specifics, but these people grew up with the game and now they're older than us and they have more money than us. So some of those people are the ones that are sticking around and putting the money into the game that could not be there in the future if they continue on this path to alienate them. Not saying all of them feel that way, but
right.
based off of, certain Reddit posts and whatnot, it could be a thing that leads to the downfall of the original players or older players.
Right. And like I said, not all the loyal long-term players are against this.
Hmm.
Some of them still love the idea. And I've already purchased some of these. And while I don't intend to play, it's more in the sense of I have no one really to play with.
Yep.
Um So mine will remain collector's items until, I happened upon someone. But I don't see myself getting really into the game the way that I used to be. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I feel like if I was still a long-term player, if I was still into it, I would still buy these decks.
Yeah.
They interest me, and I would probably like it more being able to play with them. Uh, that being said, though, would I be buying these Play-Doh sets, these, just random things that constantly come out? No. Would I be annoyed by it? Likely.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
is it one of those things where the constant new IPs coming in will just tire you and
Yes.
make you not want to be a part of it anymore? Likely. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like everyone hits that point with Fortnite even. Avid Fortnite players really get into it. They enjoy the time that they have with it, but with every season just focusing on a new IP or pushing certain things, if you don't like that IP, you're not going to play that season.
And adding on to that, a lot of the issues I have now, especially with like Pokemon, like I don't really collect Pokemon. I have some sets because it hit nostalgia. And yes, we do pack attack here where right now the main focus is Pokemon because that's what I'm doing at the moment. But there will be other stuff. I have other stuff in the pipeline coming around here at some point. That being said, the issue kind of going on, it seems like with Pokemon, is that for a while there's more times to breathe in between sets coming out, but now that there's so many people wanting to buy Pokemon, it almost seems like there's a new set every 2 months. How do you keep up with that as a company? How do you keep up with that as people spending
A
money?
collector.
A
Yeah.
collector, yeah, they're definitely they're giving people what they want.
But too
Mm,
fast. Not enough
yeah,
time to really
yeah,
collect.
but it's really not just for the collector, it's also for the meta for the game itself, like, the meta's gotta be changing, like, very quickly, so I feel bad for the people who play the game to actually play the game because there's gotta be an errata every week, I'm sure, but
Right.
that's all I wanted to say about that is just that it's getting insane, you don't have time to breathe in between sets, and
There's gonna be a level of exhaustion.
Yeah,
both with
and
Pokemon, with Magic, with Fortnite. I feel like a lot of people have already hit that with Fortnite.
yeah.
At least Fortnite, however, is constantly innovating. They're adding new things, giving new sections, letting people who don't like one portion of it enjoy another portion. And I mean, at least with Pokemon, they have the video games, they have the TV show slash movies. So they have other areas to play.
Magic really, I mean, they have books,
Yeah, and that's really where the lore comes in,
yeah, they have
where
the
the
books.
hardcore players enjoy it.
Yeah, they have the books, they have the card game. Now they have comics, which they've always had comics for a long time, but now I think Boom Studios has been doing comics for them for a bit. And then they also have, the apps, the computer game, and whatever other console games that they have, but
Right.
they're very few and far between. So they don't have a lot of Magic doesn't have a lot of outside money makers from the card game is what I'm trying to get at. Like big.
Right. I mean, yeah, that it really just comes down to like the additional things that you need for the game, whether it be tokens, coins. Some people use D20s for keeping score of life. They can market certain things, like I said, the cases, the individual card covers, but they only go so far, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these things aren't super expensive. They may be if they're limited, limited time, limited number, but those things can be made by third parties too. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I do know that obviously a lot of these arguments that people are putting out there have had responses from Magic. I do want to state that head designer Mark Rosewater has also tried to reassure players that the internal Magic IP is still the priority, but many still feel that that isn't reflected in the products being released.
Yeah.
And it's really up to us, I guess, in general, uh, to take what we want out of that. Obviously, when it comes to lore and stuff like that, it goes into the books. They're not going to be using any of these outside IPs. Is it going to affect any of that? Probably not. But when it comes to the card game itself, which is the core of the
Yeah.
entire franchise, uh, if people are tired of playing it because of the Fortniteification, then when you lose your core, you lose everything.
Yeah. So I mean, it might also, if they're a good company, if they start seeing everything else falter, they might take a step back and be like, "All right, we're gonna just focus on what made us popular in the first place."
But
So
do you think damage is done?
that
Because
that that's
again,
the big question. Well, I don't.
yeah,
We're not there yet. That's for sure.
right.
We're not there yet. But to a certain point, there at a certain point, enough will be enough. We're not there yet,
Yeah.
but who knows?
Well, I'm just saying, like these cards have been made, they've been sold, they are legal, people are playing with them. Uh, if at one point, everyone says enough is enough, they stop making them, that's one thing, but you still have these cards in circulation. And then you could even say that they say, all right, well, we won't make them legal anymore. No longer in any of our competitions, they're out. But then you alienate the new players that came in because of
Exactly.
those. So
So
it just becomes a huge issue that has already been set in stone.
yeah. So in your words, do you think Magic is going to be around longer because of this or not as long? What do you think?
I think even if it's a bad thing, they are going to be around a little longer,
Okay.
just down to the fact that they are making a huge profit from this.
Yes.
Making money holds you in a little longer. It gives you a chance to rectify the problem too. So maybe, maybe they'll be around for good. Again, it comes down to their marketing team, their designers, um, you know, everyone will have to come together if
Even
they
the
see this as an
consumer.
issue. Yeah, everyone will have to come together and go, okay, we need a new idea. We need to turn everything around. We need to come up with a new game format, mechanics, something that would draw people in enough to be a game changer for people to reignite their love for it.
Yeah.
uh, and that's a hit and miss. And
Yep.
so it really comes down to how creative they can be.
Correct. I agree with you. Um, I've really said all I need to say. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, no, I think we've covered. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it usually just for the artwork. If I'm not going to be playing with it, like I opened the Doctor Who set and I flipped through everything and I loved the artwork. It's just one of those things that, it's the aesthetic for that deck, but I wouldn't be using that deck to, I mean, I guess Doctor Who does kind of fit because he does have the ability to travel anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I mean, but from the inside perspective, seeing an outsider come like Doctor Who, it can be jarring for sure.
Yes.
Uh, it would be fun for me. It wouldn't be fun for my opponent. You know,
That's true. But that's how you
uh,
win psychological warfare.
yeah, exactly. You know what? Maybe they're onto something.
Maybe.
Uh, but yeah, it's for me, it was just more of a collector thing, and I'm going to enjoy it for what it is for me. Um, am I glad that they did it? I If they chose never to do any of these, I wouldn't have missed out. But
Exactly.
then I
Same here.
also wouldn't have bought any more cards.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so
the
there's
Fortnite
something to be
effect is
said about.
real.
Right, exact well, it's all about nostalgia, and
Yes.
everyone's doing it. Movies, video games, like, we've talked constantly about how the best video games these days are either remakes or sequels because
Yep.
nostalgia sells.
Yes, it does. Uh, so with that, we're pretty much out of time, folks. This went longer than what we thought we were gonna do, but when you believe in the heart of the cards, oh wait, that's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
uh,
trust in the heart of the cards.
but
Time to duel.
but yeah, we're just a couple of nerds here. If you guys don't know us, we are Plot Hole Productions, and you can follow us anywhere. We're on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, and go to one of those to keep up to date with everything that we're doing. We do a podcast usually every week, so keep an ear out for us. Once again, I'm your host Nate Slater
And I'm Chris Sambrook, and we'll catch you
in
in
the
the void.
void.